Christy was home alone. She fought this guy tooth and nail. The crime scene guys and the homicide guys that I talked to said they'd never seen a scene like it. It was absolutely brutal. They were inside the apartment for 7 days working the crime scene. They suspected him right away. They interviewed him, but they couldn't get what they needed. I talked to the homicide investigator that had the case, and he said, I absolutely know it's this guy. He goes, I can't prove it. Okay, my name is Alan Cavallo. I'm originally from San Jose, California. Transplant to Utah about 3.5 years ago. I was a police officer in the city of San Jose for 26 plus years, and then I transferred over to San Jose State, and I was a commander, police officer there at San Jose State for almost 8 years.
Was it your wife's roommate that got murdered?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to hear that story.
Okay. So I get married in 1988 to my high school sweetheart. Her sister was 5 years younger, and her best friend was 5 years younger, and they were both big parts of our life. And this gal was at our wedding. And my sister-in-law and she were roommates in a really nice part of town.
What was her name?
Christy.
Okay.
And I didn't expect this. Christy, she caught the bouquet at our wedding. I'm sorry.
You're good.
She was a really sweet kid. And a young 20-year-old, we'd gotten to know her family. The day after our wedding, we went on our honeymoon on Monday, and apparently her next door neighbor had been stalking her. He decided that he was going to rape her, and he was a convict, a parolee. He had a cast on his arm from some injury. He broke into their house. Christy was home alone. And Christy was a big girl. She was 5'10", probably weighed 130 pounds, very athletic, strong young girl. And she fought this guy tooth and nail, so much so that the crime scene guys and the homicide guys that I talked to after said they'd never seen a scene like it. It was absolutely brutal. He cut her throat so deep that it was hanging on by one thread. Mm. He stabbed her so many times that they lost count. Mm. They were inside the apartment for 7 days working the crime scene. It was that hard. Mm. And they knew of him. They suspected him right away. He had gone to the hospital and gotten a new cast. They could never find the cast. And they interviewed him, but they couldn't get what they needed. They couldn't get any physical evidence out of the house to tie him to the scene. I talked to the homicide investigator that had the case, and he and I were pretty good friends, and he said, I absolutely know it's this guy. I know it. He goes, I can't prove it. And the case went cold.
Wow.
So it went
cold. That must have been so frustrating.
Went cold for 20 years. And then DNA changed, and the technology changed. The homicide lieutenant got a hold of me, and he said, we got a break, and we've got good DNA on him, and we're going to get a warrant for him. And I want your team to go arrest him. And so I was in Merge at the time as the lieutenant, and I got the opportunity to go out thinking, we were going to go arrest this, parolee badass, homicide suspect that, committed this murder on a friend of mine. And we set up on his house and, a couple hours watched what was going on. Turns out he lived with mom. And I think it was like a double wide, mobile home in the middle of central California. And anyway, we ended up taking him into custody, and he was a broken down 50-plus-year-old parolee that looked like some homeless guy. I mean, it was just it was sad to see him.
So anticlimactic.
Yeah. And it was almost as if he knew we were coming, because he just basically turned around, put his hands behind his back, and there was no,
like a relief almost.
I don't know, maybe, like there was no, what's this about? There no questions. He just was stoic and and broken, like just broken. He ended up getting convicted, and I don't know what the sentence was. I want to say it might have even been life without parole, but I don't remember exactly. But it was, one of those deals. And it's crushing when it's, somebody close to home. And my parents met us at the airport, and they're the ones that had to break the news to us. That was awful, just awful. We saw her on a regular basis. It was like one of our family, and it was super devastating to her family, to her parents. They were great people, and they tried like crazy to keep it together, but it just ruined them, just ruined them.
Did you tell me they died before he was convicted?
Yeah, I believe both of them were gone.
Her parents died before.
Yeah, because they were easily in their 50s when she was murdered, and so I think they were both gone.
Oh,
yeah, so sad.
Yeah,
it was a hard case to. Yeah, and it was my sister-in-law ended up living with us for about a year and a half. And she was petrified, absolutely petrified. I remember coming home, and she had a tough time.
Boy, the randomness of that, if you're close to somebody, that'll shake your confidence, that's for sure.
And luckily she didn't find her. Her other roommate did, who was just a roommate, but still that had to have been, pretty horrific for her. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry to get emotional.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, didn't expect that, but I guess that's what happens.
What was the worst part of being a policeman? When you look back at it,
how evil people can be. There's some evil people, and you just kind of wonder, because there's some really nice people, but then there's this evil, and you see that evil, and you just go, where does that come from? And if God made us all, in his light, or if that's your belief or whatever that, I don't know. I think it kind of took God away from me in a lot of respects. I don't know.